I have this I have this Facebook friend, and he is like a femboy, and like he goes by he him, which is like wild because like he looks so fucking he looks so much like a girl. I don't even like, because I don't think he even identifies as trans like at all.
Yeah.
Like, but he's just like so fucking hot. It's like, oh Jesus. He pops up on my feed like a lot, and he is like, yeah, 23, which is wild because like that's like I could literally be his mother, and I would be so proud.
Right?
If I were his mother, I'd be like, I'm so proud of you. You've done such a good job. You've done such a good job. You're such a good femboy. Like you're just the best. Like, I'm so proud of you.
Ladies, gentlemen, and friends beyond the binary, welcome to Girl Dick with Ted Cruz, starring Lilith Electra Darling, Amanda Bonanza, and esteemed Republican Senator from the great state of Texas, your host, Ted Theodore Cruz.
Remember a few weeks ago I told you about that lady who canceled our appointment with me, and my suspicion was that...
Yeah.
Popped back up, made an appointment with me for next Friday. Out of nowhere.
Oh, well, I guess it wasn't that, maybe, or maybe she's like, fuck it, I need this, I need that, and I don't care if she's trans or not.
Yeah, I'm gonna like coach.
I need this so bad, and I have to I'm gonna hate every fucking second
of it. She's so perky.
That wonderful transgender person that like just proves that my bigotry is all just nonsense. It's just gonna shake my belief system so much, and I can't stand it.
I'm having everything I've ever held dear challenged.
Everything, all of my beliefs from like, and it's like, well, if that's true, if that's wrong, maybe my belief that there's an old man in the sky that sits on a cloud and watches me masturbate is also wrong. What if that's the case?
Maybe the world really is round.
I can't believe it. What if what if there isn't like a man, a red man with horns and like who carries around a pitchfork, for like his hay work, like and that lives in the middle, underground in the middle of the earth, and he's got his pitchfork because it's either for like hay, because so he can poke people. He can poke people on the tuchus.
Wait a minute.
What if there's not that? What if that's not a real thing?
Do you think this means that Trump lost the election?
I mean, we all know that's not true. Don't. I mean, we don't need to. Now you're getting crazy.
Come on.
Hey, could you believe it? Clearly that was a George Soros plot.
Right. But yeah, so that was kind of exciting.
The all-powerful left that can't do anything. That doesn't get anything done.
Couldn't pass any laws when they controlled both houses of Congress.
Didn't do a single thing, but they're all powerful yet also weak and powerless. Yeah. It's incredible that they're both at the same time, and whenever it works for them,
and
like it's wild.
A bunch of sissy soy boys who also stormed the Capitol on January 6th, dressed
and are the most terrifying force on earth, and also a bunch of sissy fuckboys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's like probably no one would have noticed, and now that's all I'm going to see when I'm editing. It's like, well, this is clearly the part before I touched up my lipstick, where I just look like a.
Well, you look at it and you think you look like Heath Ledger's the Joker, and it's just like barely a little part.
I know, it's true. It's like let me tell you about my dad.
I do that all the time. I'll get like completely done with my makeup, and I'll be like, nope.
My dad. He drank. We came in hot like Tom Cruise and fucking Top Gun Maverick or whatever.
Top Gun Maverick? Top Gun and
I didn't see Top Gun Maverick. Did they play volleyball with their shirts off?
Is Top Gun Maverick a combination of Top Gun and the movie Maverick with the poker players?
I don't think so.
Okay.
That's not at all that. I think it's
Okay.
the sequel. That's that sequel to Top Gun that came out like a year ago. Or last summer. That was like a year ago, which is a year ago. Fuck, it was last May. Yeah,
I'd rather
it
be
was
a
a year
combination of
ago.
Top Gun and the Western Maverick. I think that'd be
Well, no,
perfect.
because his name was Maverick. Did
Yeah.
you never see the first Top Gun?
No, I haven't seen any Top Guns. I don't watch.
You've
I
never
don't
seen
watch,
any Top Gun?
No, I don't watch like pro-military nationalist bullshit.
How you? But everyone saw Top Gun. Like,
Not
it's like
everyone.
you
This
didn't
is
know
why.
any better.
This is why
You
I'm
were
just at
that
a
you were
different
that
level.
ahead of the game. You were like in 1987. You were like like what like 12 years old, and you were like
Oh my God! I wish I was 12 in
American
1987.
military industrial complex is
Yeah,
like
I was.
that's what this is about. You weren't watching Top Gun in junior high. You were instead reading Noam Chomsky, and you were like, "Oh, this is you know what this is? This is manufactured consent.
This is
That's what
manufactured
this
consent.
is.
Yeah.
You're talking about Top Gun, and you're all fooled. This is
Yeah.
manufactured consent. Here,
Guaranteed.
read Karl Marx, fellow seventh graders."
I love that you think I'm
In
that young.
1980s
That would be
America?
so great if I was in middle school in the late, and like I was just like a little kid in the '88, and I was already a jaded old person. You know,
Were you already like
I graduated high school in '88.
okay?
Yeah.
Wow, that's wild. Because I know that I feel like we're the same age, but I know you're a little older than me, and so it's like but that difference when you're that age.
In my time,
Like, it's like I was like,
Yeah.
you were 18, but I was 13.
Yeah.
So like, it's like, oh shit, that's a huge fucking difference.
Yeah.
Like, because you could have read Marx by then, and you could have been reading Noam Chomsky, whereas I was like, I had like a Bart Simpson shirt.
I was already standard Gen X. I trust no one.
Yeah, you were in
Yeah.
there. You were
Fuck
in
that
there
shit.
already. You were like, yeah,
Yeah.
fuck Bush, no war for oil. That's what you were.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's it exactly. But yeah, no, I don't. I'd see the war movies that like Platoon, like the shit that makes the government
Right.
look like bullshit and the military look
Yeah.
like bullshit because it's bullshit.
You saw Apocalypse Now. You're like, yeah, I don't see any method here.
Apocalypse Now. I was like 7 when that came out.
You're right.
At
There's
7,
no fucking method
At
here.
7 years old, I was in no place to watch like a 3-hour, Apocalypse Now bullshit. Yeah, we went and saw a double header. We saw Deer Hunter and Apocalypse Now. We spent 2.5 days at the movie theater.
I did see the Deer Hunter when I was like 10 because it was
Ooh,
like
that's a
my
lot.
dad had. I didn't know what the fuck was
That
going
is
on. Like
a
my
lot.
so my dad got like super into like when like VCRs were new and VHS was new.
Yeah.
He got super into like pirating them and recording them, and he got like this little piece of tech called like a fuzz buster.
Huh?
And like it was like, because like back in those days, like when they had like the anti-piracy things that they had when you rented them at the video store, which was like even before Blockbuster, you had to get them at the grocery store.
Yeah.
And if you had to, because they didn't want you to record from VCR to VCR, you weren't supposed to do that. That's
Yeah.
illegal.
They had the
They had the
little tabs
warning.
on
They had the
on
warning.
cassette.
And so like, yeah, so well, I mean, you taped over those obviously, but the thing is like they encoded like the magnetic tape with like, if you did that, it was just like fuzzy and like you couldn't even see it or hear it.
Yeah.
But my dad had this little tool called the fuzzbuster, and it was like 1984, so it was like a really big tool. Like,
Of
it was a
course,
thing now
yeah.
that it would just be software.
It would be a SIM
It would
card.
literally not. It would take up no physical space now. Like, but like at that time, it was about the size of like, I don't know, about the size of the King James Holy Bible.
Okay,
Really,
fair enough, yeah.
You know, like your average standard Gideon's Bible that you find in a Motel 6. That's about like that size, and like you plugged it in and you did, and then so it was still wasn't great, the quality that you got from tape to tape, but he did, and every movie he rented, he would duplicate, and he would like card catalog them and wrote them down on like paper and numbered them, and like he would have 3 movies on one tape, so like you could like you'd have to fast forward and get to them, but like Deer Hunter was on tape number 4. I mean, he had like 113 of these.
God.
But I just remember because like Deer Hunter was on number 4. This was one of the first ones. And like as a kid, like I was watching every one of these tapes. I just like, oh, movies. Yeah, great. This is amazing. I can watch a movie whenever I want. Like, can you imagine like that being exciting? Like now it's like, oh God, oh, fucking like you spend more time.
You're on the bus watching a movie on your phone.
Yeah, and you spend more time like on HBO or Netflix or Amazon or whatever, like just going through and looking at the things like you don't want to watch. Like it's like, no, this looks stupid. It's amazing. Like, okay, how many movies I don't fucking want to see. Like whenever I like go through that thing, I don't want to see any of these. These all look terrible.
Yeah. They do.
And like, I don't know if I'm wrong. Maybe they're all really good, but they just don't really strike me as that. Like, and I'm never going to know because I'm never going to watch them. Like, but it's funny because like you do that and you go through and you're watching these, you're looking at the stuff. And I have a vague recollection, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but I don't think I'm wrong. I don't think my memory's that skewed, that like 15 years ago, it was all top tier stuff coming out. Like there was really good movies and TV, and now it feels like there's just nothing. Yeah. Like we're in like a desert. Like we just and it's like the pop culture of
part of
the late '90s, early aughts. Yeah,
there's so many like streaming services now that all the stuff that would have been on like 10 cable channels and network is like, if you want to watch this one really good show, it's on this one streaming app. And then there's one other really good show, but it's on this other streaming app, and you're just like, I don't give a shit.
That's what it is, and there's a million of them, and now it costs even more than a cable subscription. The idea was that you were gonna like, but that's why it's like I went in the chest and I opened it up and blew off the dust off our friend Pirate Bay.
Yeah.
Like, hey, buddy. Yar, back in. I'm sorry I neglected you. He's like, tis all right.
Just to continue this.
I knew you'd be back.
This riveting conversation about early '80s video technology. just to tell you the biological mess and the luck mess that I had to pull myself out of to get where I was today. When videotapes first came out, my dad went with the Betamax.
Which was superior.
It was superior. But like many things in America, is not popular. We'll go with the worst, thing. So we could rent the little smaller cassette. They were supposedly looked better. I'm like 10, 12, I don't know.
You didn't know when you were a kid. You're just like, oh, we got the wrong one. There's more of those.
And then, like, a year later, you couldn't even find the tapes anymore for it.
Yeah.
And then when Netflix was just doing DVDs, I kind of did
that they sent to you in the mail?
Yeah, I did like your dad. I got a thing to crack DVDs on my laptop, and I just burned all these CDs. So
hell yeah, you did.
I might have tossed them.
You burned DVDs is what you did.
Yeah.
Maybe you did put them on CD. I don't know. They fit.
Okay, whatever.
Well, you remember the weird like that tech? Disc. Well, there was tech that lasted like 6 months. That was the combination of the MP3 CD.
Yeah.
Like where like you could use it as a CD where you could burn the music to it. Or you could use it as a data storage disc where it would store MP3s, but then you had to put it through an MP3 CD player that was in cars. And my friend, the bass player, my band, Mara, she had the MP3 CD player in her car, and it was great. But then like 6 months went by, and she got that car in that window where that was a thing, and like it was not a thing. Like after that, it was like no one's just because then the iPod came out, everyone was just using that.
Everything. That's like the people who are in college in the early 2000s who just have like an 8 million DVD collection because they were just buying full seasons of Scrubs and full seasons
right,
of
yeah.
It's just like all that shit's available online. And you can just watch it.
Yeah, you just watch on YouTube now.
Or my friend who had the Laserdisc collection.
I've got a friend who still is into Laserdiscs. Like he's like a movie guy, and he's got his Laserdisc collection. He loves Laserdisc. He's like, yeah, it's better. It's the best. That's the best tech there ever was for movies. And it's just like, all right, I believe you. You know better than me.
To not feel bad that you bought a Laserdisc setup.
No, he loves it. He really truly does. And like this guy what he does. Like he's such like a movie nerd, and that's I probably now, because like now modern TVs are like they're 16:9, so they're movie formatted size. But like back, oh, Jesus, 20 years ago.
Yeah, they were
20 years ago,
boxes.
15, 20 years ago,
16:9.
they weren't. They were like they were the 6:9. And so like they were like TV shaped or more boxy. And so like when you got like a quality movie, you got the letterbox version. So like it was like you would, because they would format movies to fit on those 6:9 screens, and they would cut off the edges. That's how they formatted. They just cut off what was on the sides. And so like a true movie fan would like, that formatting wouldn't do. You would have to get the letterbox version, which would have like which you see, what you see on our YouTube channel, kind of, because with the lines and the black lines on the top and on the bottom. And so, but he couldn't bear to have those black lines on his screen because he swore he saw digital noise in them. And so he would actually get tape, and he would tape his television screen so you didn't see the light emanating from the blackness of the letterbox.
Sure. It's also weird because we live in an interesting time where TV.
Turner, I love you. I love you so much. But that was the most ridiculous thing, and I loved every second of it.
But we lived in a time where we went from TV going from that to now where it is in the high def, and it's shot that way. And what's funny is, streaming services are like streaming, like Disney has The Simpsons, and instead of leaving it in the original format, they blow it up to fit your screen, and all these jokes that happen happen at the bottom or top of the screen, you just miss. And so you'll be watching, and there'll be like an awkward thing. It was like, there should have been a joke there. And then obviously, like, I've watched The Simpsons so much.
That's ridiculous.
I was just like, oh, I have to explain to Adam, like, oh, by the way, just underneath the line of your TV there, Bart's doing this, and it's hilarious. But yeah.
That's ridiculous that they would do that, but they don't.
Thing to do.
Yeah, it's such a corporate thing to do. Like,
should we look through and see if that's going to affect things? Just blow them all up. People would rather
blow them up. It needs to be. People want to see their screen filled. Our studies show people want to see the whole screen with stuff on it.
They don't care about jokes. They're just staring.
They don't care. It's especially with the Simpsons, doesn't matter. Big Bang Theory doesn't matter. What was going on there doesn't matter. Matters is that it fills the screen.
If you're filling your screen with Big Bang Theory, you're probably proving Disney right. So
you're loving it. You're loving it. You're loving every minute of that, Sheldon. Sheldon says Bazinga, and you're less like, what?
I love it.
I can't get enough.
I love it when this show tells me when to laugh. Like, I wish I could do that.
It's so good.
It would be so great.
Because otherwise, I'd just be sitting there like, what?
Right? It'd be great, like when you were reading Shakespeare in high school and you're like not following along because they're speaking in this weird language that's kind of English but not really, and they're like, "This is the joke," and you're like, "I don't get it." It'd be great if like they just had someone there who like laughed at you and like, "Oh yeah, Maidenheads."
What they did in Midsummer's Night Dream. If you read Midsummer's Night Dream, every time there's a joke, there's like an asterisk and like 3 exclamation points, and that's like it's in the beginning. It's at the legend at the beginning, and it's like this is when it's a joke. So like that's what Shakespeare did. Is Shakespeare invented the laugh track in written word form in Midsummer Night's Dream, and like in The Taming of the Shrew, and that's when they're like, oh, here's the joke. It's like, oh. And that's when you know to laugh when you're reading the Shakespeare.
That's when you're reading. It's like more for like, if you're watching it, if everyone's not laughing, you read along probably. Yeah.
But what they did in like the Elizabethan times in like England in like or was it Edwardian? Which era was it? Was it Edward or Elizabeth?
Man, I dug myself.
Was it Edwardian?
I dug myself a hole by bringing up Shakespeare.
Was it Victorian?
Like I knew what I was talking about.
It was Elizabeth, Victoria, or Edward. One of those three. That was that whole
olden
second half of the 20th century. Yeah, the 20th, the 2000s, the 1500 through 19.
Everything before Vietnam is
through 1900. Yeah, like I can't remember which one was Shakespeare, but like what they used to do is they would have, so they would be putting on like The Taming of the Shrew, and they of course like you had to have all men because women weren't allowed to act. They're too busy. They're too stupid.
We're bringing that back. So
yeah, and so you had all the men in the dresses, but I mean it was for art. So Well, no, that's no good. That was like, I was like, oh, that's because that Victorian England was so loose and leftist. They were so like, they were wild and crazy. Like they were just letting people get away with sinning like no problems. Like, yeah, it was like, can you imagine how loose and free they were with sexuality in like Victorian England? Like, oh, I can't have that. We know better now in 2023 that you can't do that because that's not God's way. That's why, Out-Puritan them Puritans, they were way too loose.
Yeah, are you
too loose?
Hold on, you've gone on a travel here. You gotta close out this Shakespearean laugh track thing.
Because that's what they would do in those days. No, well, they wouldn't have live laugh tracks. What they would have is they had a guy. They would get to that point in the script with the asterisk and the exclamation, and all the actors would stop, and then there would be a guy dressed like in a clown wig, carrying a sign that was like, huh, and he would hold it up, and he was like, that's what they did. See, people don't know that.
Welcome to Girl Dick with Ted Cruz. I'm Liz Arling. That's Amanda Bonanza. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, for us, fortunately, Ted Cruz could not be here today. And, he's being removed from the show. As we said, we're rebranding.
Yeah, Ted Cruz is not allowed here today.
Not allowed here. This is a Ted Cruz free zone.
This is Ted Cruz free zone. Fuck that tool. Fuck that tool.
And you know what we know about...
He can't even wear cowboy boots right. He tries. He looks like a fucking goofball. He can't even do it.
It's because he's
like, how do you fuck up cowboy boots?
He's
not fucking.
That's the thing. The secret to everything, and this is for all our listeners. You folks are beautiful. Live your best authentic self. Being who you are is the best way to just go through life. And the reason Ted Cruz is unlikable is because he tries to fit in whatever box he thinks is going to be most advantageous to him. When he thought
he looks like he's wearing 2 Campbell suit cams on his feet.
When he thought he could be president, he hated Donald Trump. Donald Trump called his wife ugly, said his dad assassinated Kennedy. And when he couldn't be president anymore, he saw sucking at Trump's teat was the way to go. So he was like campaigning for Trump. That is no way to go through your life. All right, what
else isn't a way to go through your life?
Fat, dumb,
wearing two cans of cream of mushroom soup on your feet, just sloshing around. Had it squirt out at just below the knee.
Yeah. So,
like Ted Cruz, honestly, that's what he does.
Just like snap diagnosis Ted Cruz there. Being a malleable piece of shit instead of just being your authentic self. And that's what we're all about here. Being your best self, being who you are, living the life you want to live. And that's where we're at. You want to jump in? I got some questions for us.
I think we should just jump in. I think we're ready.
Yeah.
Let's just do it.
This is like a little personal one. It's story. I love telling stories.
Okay.
Answering questions is great. People want advice, but I love telling like my own personal story. So this is kind of.
So this is a you thing.
No, it's for us. See, we're both going to tell personal stories, but I like these questions more than like telling people what to do. I like to share the experience.
Okay. Okay. Let's do it.
Yeah.
I know what you mean now.
Yeah.
I was confused.
All right. Cool. Yeah, this is just for me. You're not allowed to answer. No.
I was like, what's going on here?
Yeah.
What are we doing? This new thing.
Were you scared the first time you went shopping? If yes, how did you overcome your fear? I, MTF, am pretty sure that they won't care at all, but I'm still a bit scared because it is still very unusual for me to go shopping for girly stuff. Any advices about it? Any kind of boutique mall to recommend? Anything you experienced to feel less awkward? And then like a little emoji smiley face for us, because they appreciate our input.
I am almost certain that we've touched on this before, but I think it's been long enough where I think we can revisit it. So for me, I had been dressing in the women's section, like shopping in the women's section since I was a teenager. Like I got over that real quick, and like half excuse, half legitimate, like it's like I was a musician. Mm-hmm. I was in a rock band and I wore women's clothes because they were more colorful, and I was in a psychedelic rock band. And so like, it was like, that was my whole thing, was like psychedelic gear. And if you look at all the old, like 60s psychedelic, if you look at like late 60s like, psychedelic band pictures, like Zeppelin Floyd and like Jefferson Airplane and all that, all they're all wearing women's clothes. Like it's like there's no men's clothes to be seen. They're not in the shot. They don't have them. There's all blouses and like floral prints and like big bell bottom pants and like and corduroys and all this stuff. It's just stuff that was strictly in the women's section, and like and so that was like. I legitimately just wanted the color and wanted to be, like get that late 60s like psychedelic vibe going, but also I'm trans and I wanted to wear women's clothes. Right? Like that was also like an excuse for it. Like that's what I said to myself to justify it, to give myself the confidence to go shopping in the women's section. Now, that being said, so I got used to it, and this is like I didn't come out until my 40s, so this is like I've got 25 years of practice of doing this. So like for me, it was like not a thing. However, like it is a thing, and it is, and that first time, a couple points of advice is it's that same thing we touch on all the time, which is just do it, just own your shit.
It's going to be harder, and then the second time you do it's going to be a little easier, and then the third time you do it, it's not even going to be a thing.
And that's the thing about it, is because what you're going to realize after doing it the first time is no one's looking at you. No one cares. No one cares. Now, if you you might get some weird looks if you went into like specifically a women's boutique. Like maybe and maybe not, and depending on the city you're in and depending on where you are in the world or the country, you might get some wry looks. But like really the places that are kind of the safest for this sort of thing, where it's like people genuinely do not care, is like thrift stores. If you go into like
you took my perfect answer.
Well, that's what it is. I mean, that's because it's right.
You're going to, I got to cross off everything on my checklist. Oh, it's okay.
Well, if you take it from here.
Well, I worked at a thrift store for like a year, and I think one thing that's cool about thrift stores is they're never. It's you go into like a Target or a department store. You go into a thrift store, if it's small enough, you're probably the only person in there, or there might be a handful of people, and no one's really concerned. Two. If you're worried, like I think one thing we all see, especially it's coming up to Pride Month, we see the weirdos going into Target with their cameras and like making a big deal that there's a shirt in the kids section with a rainbow on it. And I get it, like they make those videos.
A thing that happens?
Oh my God, yes. And they make those things not because honestly they don't give a shit about that. What they're trying to do is keep you out of Target, and they're trying to scare you and think that by having that there. So I totally understand that. Like thrift stores are amazing. Plus you can just like try on different looks and kind of explore what you want. I think in all my time I have one time I went to like a dress barn and took a dress into the dressing room, and like one of the employees was like, I started going to the women's room, and they're like, "You're going in there?" And I was like, "Yes, I'm going in here." And what are they going to do? I went into the women's dressing room. Like, who cares? Yeah. But I would say, a couple things. If you have that support group, have that friend to go with you. If you're feeling really nervous, I went to the first time I went with a friend, and mostly to ask for opinions on things I was interested in.
Well, you need that anyway. I have
no clue.
That's the thing. I'm going to interject here because that's the other part of it is doing anything by yourself is harder. Yeah. Like, and so if you've got like a trusted like cis friend, or even just like a trans friend that's like a little farther along than you are, or anyone that that knows and understands like women's clothes and how they work and fit and like how things go together. Because you can't, if you just go yourself, like even me these days, it's like I need to shop with somebody else because you do need to bounce it off other people. It's like, does this look good on me? Like, what it is, and like you get so depending. You're probably pretty early in your transition. Maybe you just came out. Maybe you're not even started HRT yet. But like once the hormones kick in, they start changing your brain around. Like you start approaching these things in different ways than you did pre-transition, and you start thinking about things like, well, how does this look like, and also your body's going to change. Yeah. That's the other thing. Your body's going to change so much. and your tastes are going to change so much. Like the things that you like at the very first stage of transitioning are, it's like you're literally going through puberty. So imagine how like your tastes in clothes or anything at all changed from when you were like 12 to by the time you were 15.
Yeah.
Like it's just a radically different thing. Like you would not wear at age 15, you would not have fit into, nor would you have worn the same clothes that you did at 12. And it's no different this time around. This time around, you're going to think that, oh, I want this and I want to do all this. And like, you're going to buy the stripy socks and you're going to get the Hello Kitty choker and you're going to get all these dumb things from Wish. And like, you're going to do it. And you're going to think you want these things and you're going to try them out and you're going to feel so pretty at first. And then you're going to realize like in a year, you're like, Jesus, these things are cheap and they just don't work in any situation. But like, you have to go through it.
It's funny you mentioned that. When I was probably about a year or two into my transition, and I had a cis friend who was talking about, had several trans friends, and just had this realization that all of her friends who were, male to female transition kind of were out there fashion wise, and she realized like, you guys are all in on this part of your life that you missed. Like you missed being
we missed
12, 13,
being
14 and just like wearing crazy shit. And so, don't judge yourself.
It is super okay.
Together, you fucking do. I know I've said this before. You're already breaking all the rules. So just keep breaking the rules. And if you want to wear it, and allow yourself to learn more about what looks good on you, what feels good on you, and buy those things. But yeah, I'd say that's what I loved about thrift stores, is I can go in with like $20 and get like, I don't have to worry about buying something crazy that I might that maybe down the road I won't like because I spent like $3 on it. I spent $5 on it. And then I have one shirt. I actually just got rid of it because it got a hole in it. But it was this green shirt. It was kind of like this boho green shirt that was like cut down the middle and had lace around the cutout and stuff. I wore that shirt fucking once a week for 4 years when I first transitioned. It just felt right. It was great when I was on stage. It showed off what little boobs I had back then. And so, just embrace what you want and like don't worry about that. Rely on your friends and realize that for the most part, people don't care and no one's really paying attention to you. A lot of the loudest people and the most vocal people are, they're making noise to make noise, and in real life they won't do anything. But always the standard Lilith. Always be aware of your surroundings. Always be safe. But also don't let those things hold you back from what you're going. And if you go to a Target, Target's policy is on your side. The people at Target, it's their policy to make their restrooms, make their changing rooms available to you, and the gender that you are, regardless of your whatever you want to call it, biological gender, assigned gender.
I got a little blowback at Target when I first started, my first year. Like it was the smallest thing. Yeah. It was like, and it was like more like an instinctual reaction.
Yeah.
But I was like, I was not in any way passable, and I was just asking about shoe sizes because they didn't have my size.
Yeah.
But I was asking if they did have any shoes in my size, and she was just like, her reaction was, women's shoes. I was like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just like, but it was that, and then she was like, oh, yeah, well, let me look, and she kind of gave me a little bit of a look. I don't think she was like shitty. She was accidentally shitty, and she was like, okay, well, I'll do it. She just was like, she wasn't ready for it. She wasn't expecting it.
Yeah.
But in the end, it didn't make any difference, but they also didn't have any shoes my size. So it was like, that was, I don't know, shoes my size, but to Lilith's point, and to the point in general, which is how do you get over it? How do you get over being scared? You just gotta power through.
Yeah,
you're gonna you just do it. You gotta you gotta just dive in and go and do it. And
all your fears from the unknown. You don't know what's gonna happen, and so of course you're already assuming the worst. You're like,
yep.
You think the worst is going to happen, and as soon as you do it, those fears can start melting away. I know, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's fine. It's this is what we do. All the times I've done it to you. But that's the thing is like, is, is it's that you think the worst, you assume the worst, and you build up all these fears and like, well, what if this happens? What if this happens? And I'm so nervous because I don't know how this is going to go. But the reality is no one's watching you.
Yeah.
No one cares. But then the other part about it is one of the tricks to just not only this specific instance, but but also just having confidence in general is just owning your shit. You just have to own your shit. And
Mhm.
the the thing that the thing about like confidence and is the real is you just have to decide to have it. And I know we've talked about this a million times and but it's really true because like what it is like is you just have to go in there and you fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
And what that means is like if you're carrying all that nervous energy with you, if you're like your eyes have fear in them and you've got a closed stance and you're like looking around like is anyone watching me, that is when people pick up on that, and that is when they start noticing, and that's when they do start looking at you, and that's when they're like, this person's out of place. It's like that's how police like find criminals, is like it's like they look at the people who look guilty. Like, and it's like, and if you're carrying that nervous energy in with you, like, I don't belong here and I know I don't belong here. And oh, what if someone sees me? And if you're carrying that energy, then people are going to notice. And it's just going to add to that. And it's just going to make you feel even more nervous. And so like the fix to that is to not carry that energy with you. And easy thing to say.
Easier said than done.
Easier said than done. But it really is just a matter of making up your mind, because it really is just something you just decide to be and do. Like you're just like, I'm not going to be that. I'm not going to be nervous. And then you don't, and you are nervous, but you're not letting anyone know. It's like you're carrying yourself in a way that does not, you're not exuding nervous energy. And that's really the trick. And then once you do that, even just once, you see that it works, and then you just keep doing it.
Yeah. It's like, how do you be confident? It's like, you just be confident. And they're like, that doesn't make sense. It's like, well, just go and act like you're confident, and then you'll be confident.
Yeah.
It's like, just act like
I've got a trick, a hack for this.
I want to hear that.
So if it's a matter of like you want to build up to going to the women's section, what you can do is, if you're still boy moding or whatever it is that you do, like if you like wear clothes or things that already feel comfortable, and to practice confidence, go downtown, whatever town you live in, go into a place and walk through doors you're not supposed to walk through. Just go into a building. Just go in and walk in and just walk around and make someone kick you out. That's going to be scary and hard to do too, but you'll see right away by doing that no one will do it. You can just walk around.
I would put the caveat that it really depends what town you live in. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, don't walk, but really you can just do it. Like, don't do it in the police station.
People are getting
but like,
for,
I mean,
ringing doorbells and like playing a neighborhood.
oh, I guess
like,
you're right. There's different times and shit. But like, you're
not
not gonna do that in an office building.
like,
Someone's gonna shoot you in an office building.
Every city has like, nowadays has like a little shopping district. Just park at one end, walk all the way to the end of the shopping district, and then walk back, or just make 2 loops through the mall, and just be out and and do it. There's someone in Richmond. There's a trans girl who rides around on a Segway and has magnets of like art pieces, so like Starry Night refrigerator, like big Starry Night refrigerator, and then stops people and sells the magnets and like gives you like a little glitter thing on your arm. And it's just like kind of like a thing. I mean, last time I spent $25 on 2 magnets, and I'm like, why did I just do that? But it was just like, I also was like madly crushing on her. So,
well, that's why. That's
First
why.
of all, someone on that Segway, she was actually taller than me, so I was like, hello, ma'am.
Yeah, that's great.
But yeah, if that person can ride around in, now, obviously we're in Virginia, but it's still, it's Richmond, so it's a little more welcoming than most like red Virginia, but just to go through that area and just be yourself. And like the more people there are, the more like it seems like converse, but the less likely a coward's going to do something if there are a lot of people.
Yeah,
just like
because they're
walking,
anyone
going
that
to
is
shops
gonna
and
say anything like that is a coward,
yeah,
and like they do it because like they think they've got. But it's like the bigger the crowd, the safer you are. It's absolutely true, because the vast majority of people in the world are actually supportive of us, or at least in this
right.
country so far. Like it's like all those bigots, all those noisy fucking Nazis, those shitheads. They're a minority. They're not a very big minority either. Like they're just a very small percentage. They're just belligerent and loud, and they have a platform on television where they're safe to be bigots,
Yeah.
so they can do it. And it seems like they're more prevalent than they are, and they get emboldened by being in their comfort zone. But like you take them out of that for like a split second, and they turn to jelly, because they're just cowards.
Right.
They're just like they're the cowardliest of all cowards.
Yeah, that's why they're all podcasters. It's like
they're all withered. They all wither in the face
And I know it's
of
ironic
getting
for me to
called on
say.
their shit. They're just like, oh,
Ironic for me to say, as I'm also a podcaster, and in my
yeah, we're podcasters, but we're not cowards.
I would also say, like,
Neither of us are cowards.
any trans person who goes out in public is braver than anyone who has to get their AR-15 to go to Starbucks.
Yeah, who's packing a 9mm
I'm
Bed
always
Bath
worried.
and Beyond.
Talk about like preparing for the worst, like, because I've got this thing down in Florida, and I contacted a friend down there, and they're like, a lot of these laws are getting overturned, they're not passing. I'm like, okay, but I am prepared for the worst. I'm worried like I'm going to be downtown and someone's going to tap me on my shoulder. I'm just going to turn around swinging, and I just like be prepared, but also be calm. And so like, yeah. Those fears are totally natural, but you'll get rid of them by doing them and seeing that they're rational and being amazing and living for your own joy, which is what we're here for. We have this life to enjoy it, and I know there are people who tell you otherwise. Those people should not be listened to. If anyone tells you your goal is not to enjoy your life, then they got problems. And you can tell who they are. Like, man, I just wish people, like all these right-wingers are talking about, I just wish they'd be happy. And they'll tell you they're happy, but it's like, these are not the actions of a person who's happy with their life.
None of them are happy.
No,
they're all
not.
miserable wretches. They're miserable wretches that crawled out from under a dirty, filthy rock.
Happiness is right here. They just have to like be happy and release all this hate. So I'm so happy for you. Good luck shopping.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine. You're gonna love it.
At the thrift store, send us pics. We want to see your fits.
Yeah, pics would be great.
Pics of your fits that you got at the thrift store.
Fit pics.
Your thrift fit pics. Oh, nice. Yeah, send us your.
Oh, yeah, that's great. So that's a real Fox and Socks moment.
Yeah, right. Send us your thrift fit pics. And girldickwithed@gmail.com for now. We'll probably have to transfer our.
We have to change that.
Probably change
but for now, the other thing is like buy cheap stuff, because you are gonna outgrow it.
Yeah.
Like real fast. Like
That's
you're gonna anything you get right now.
8 things.
Anything you get right now, it's like you're probably not going to be wearing it in 3 months.
Yeah. And if you got it from the thrift store, donate it back to the thrift store if you don't want it.
Which is legit, because it's a season. Yeah. Like, it's like, that's okay. That's okay. But like, yeah, just don't buy anything expensive, because like you're like we said, both your taste and your body is gonna change so much. But that it's not anything you buy now is gonna be rendered irrelevant so quickly. And what's gonna happen is a year or two is gonna go by, and you're gonna look at that and you're just gonna laugh. You're just like, I can't believe I ever bought these things. Like, I can't believe I thought this was a good idea. It's gonna be great. You're gonna love it.
Oh my god, that reminds me. The last time I met a celebrity.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might have told this. I was working at the.
Pause.
Yeah.
Let's talk about celebrity sightings, because I've got like I think let's talk about our most recent celebrity sighting.
So it wasn't recent at all for me. It was like probably 5 years ago or so, but it was before I started.
Well, if that's the most recent, if you haven't seen a celebrity in 5 years.
It's before I started HRT.
How have you lived in the dark so long?
I mean, honestly, I'm kind of in.
So you get bask in the glow of that celebrity starshine.
So so I was working at the theater. I was house managing, and I was in my pre-HRT but like going crazy phase, and I was doing just these things you're talking about, where it's like I'm ignoring the rules and I'm just wearing this couple. So I'm wearing this ankle length black lace skirt with black and white striped socks that were just barely visible, and then a pair of Chuck Taylors. And then like
That's perfect. That's perfectly trans.
And, and Gary Cole, the actor Gary Cole, who was filming something in Richmond, comes in.
My ignorance. Who's Gary Cole? What did he do?
He's Lumbergh from Office Space.
Okay, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to come in. Yeah. And so he comes in, and the worst part was, so he comes in, and it's this show that was not really going so great. It was its second week in running, and a lot of people came out the first week, and the second week, the only people in attendance are Gary Cole and this girl he's with, who I think might have been his daughter, or let's just say I hope it was his daughter. Maybe it was a co-star from the film. I don't know. Let's just put that out there. So it's just him and her, and then the person working the ticket booth, and then me in this ridiculous get up that I was just like, yeah. It was just kind of funny, and I just like Gary Cole just walked in. He's in Richmond to film something, and he just walks into this scene. It's like, what have I got myself into? And then he laughed once during the show, and it was one of those, ha! And I was like, oh,
that's great.
Man, what sucks is I had directed the show that was running the weeks before this. If he had come 2 weeks earlier, he would have seen the season finale of this amazing show I'd put together, and I'd be in Hollywood right now directing improvised movies or something. I don't know.
It's true. It's true. If only. If only.
I don't want to do that, honestly.
Well, you say that.
Give me that goat farm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I didn't have my celebrity sighting is not that exciting. I saw Patton Oswalt in the security line at the Burbank airport last time I was flying out of Hollywood. Like I ran into him. He was just like, there was no one else in the airport. It was just like him. And well, there were a handful of people in the line, but like it was just, and it was like 7:15 in the morning, which means he'd been up since like 5.
Yeah, right.
And he's just like, he was in dumpy ass shit. And he's just like in line at the airport. I didn't even bother him because I was just like, I'm not gonna fuck. I'm just, dude, you probably haven't had your coffee. Like you look like you're not hot. No one's happy to be in the line at the security line at the airport. I'm not gonna bother you, but it was like it's like I'm not even to be like, hey, I like your work, and that's like I like Patton Oswalt.
Here's the connection that's gonna blow your mind. Patton Oswalt is from Northern Virginia, and went to college about an hour from where I currently live. He went to William and Mary at the same time that Jon Stewart went to William and Mary. At the same time, my boyfriend's mom was at William and Mary, and so I don't think she's ever like I'm like friends with them, but she like knew them and had been at parties with them and stuff. But yeah, what a weird coincidence that him and Jon Stewart went to the same college at the same time.
Yeah, it's not that crazy.
For William and Mary, it is. I think like a lot of times that happens.
I don't know anything about William and Mary. I just know the Steely Dan song.
Oh, William and Mary will fight you to the death that they are the oldest college in the country, older than.
Yeah, I think I've heard that.
And they Harvard's like, well, we've been around longer, but Harvard actually closed during the Revolution or the Civil War. And William and Mary's like, well, we've opened for business every day since we began college. So
we're making that money. We were overcharging for books the whole time.
Schools fight over the stupidest things. Missouri and Kansas are always fighting of who invented homecoming. It's like, who gives a shit? Like,
yeah, it's like, well, that's that academia you get like in that world. Like if like you're in that world for too long, like you start thinking the whole world's like that, and it's just like you're in your little academic bubble, and you start thinking the dumbest things are important, and like we're all out here trying to like not get stabbed, and like trying to find a place to live, and they're like, we were first at homecoming. Like I've got it in the books, I saw it in the archives. Let me write a dissertation on it. Like, yeah, it's like, yeah.
I'm gonna go to Florida and get stabbed in the liver, but yeah, whatever. You're the oldest university in the country. Congratulations. Like the world.
Oh no. I don't know anything. I never went to college. I don't even know a degree. I never paid for college. I didn't put it that way. I went. I didn't register or anything. I don't have a degree.
I feel like I shouldn't have gone to college. I went to college. I was the first one of the. I was the classic first person in my family to go to college. But college was not for me. I should have just moved to Chicago and started doing improv right out of high school. But
yeah, I don't regret having
not
gone.
who I was at that time.
Yeah.
Yeah. So whatever. Whatever.
Yeah.
Life is life. Life is pretty amazing right now. So.
I'm saying don't go to college. College is fine. You should do it if that's what you want to do. But like,
do what Do whatever the fuck you want.
Who am I to give advice? I'm so bad.
We're probably the worst people to ask. Like, you didn't go to college. I went to college and regretted it.
I have no money at all. I'm terrible at making money. Maybe you learn how to make money in college, and that's what I fucked up.
You don't. I did not learn how to make money. I didn't get a good job until I turned like 50. So,
well, maybe I'll have a good job in 4 years because I don't ever want a job again. I'm never gonna have a job again. I've already made up my mind. I'm never getting a job again. Like I hate every job.
On my goat farm. What are you talking about?
I'm just gonna like live off the goddamn land if I have to. It's like I am never fucking getting a fucking job again after this last one. It's like I'm done. Yeah. I'm so done. Let's next question.
Next question. Oh, this one's good.
Yeah,
it's also about us. It's about the two of us, not personally, but it's something we can answer from our personal experience. What's the most liberating thought you have had as a trans person? Got the idea from a subreddit, Ask Men. It was posed as, what's the single most liberating thought you've had? So I'm curious, what's a super liberating experience or thought you have had as a trans person?
I don't know how to answer that question because I don't really understand it. Like, I don't know what a liberating thought means. What do you think that means?
For me, the way I approach it is, and I've mentioned this in passing a lot, and it's that time that the liberating thought was that I'm not transitioning to be a woman. I'm just taking steps to be myself. And everything started kind of falling in place. Everything got easier. Decisions become easier. Because it used to be I'd make a decision like, well, is this what a woman would do? Is this what a woman would wear? Is this?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, this is what Lilith would wear. This is what Lilith would do. And so
there you go. That's a good one. Yeah.
For all y'all out there, trans.
That's true. That's really good advice.
Person who thought Ted Cruz was going to be here is just listening. Like make the most liberating thing you can do is be yourself.
Person that's worried about if Ted Cruz is all right, you don't have to worry about that.
You don't have to worry about that. But yeah, it really is about finding who you are. And once you know who you are and what you're about and what your life agenda and your values are, life becomes super easy because you don't have to sweat things. You don't have to, decisions aren't tough because, well, my mom says this or society says this. It's like, what do you say? And it's super liberating. And I think that came from my transition because the first step of your transition is just like saying, you know what, I don't care what society says. I'm going to do what's best for me. Yeah. And yeah, then the thing about not trying to be quote unquote a woman and just be myself was kind of like the next step beyond that. Yeah.
I don't know that I've got one, honestly, because I never really, I feel like
during your transition where you were just like, it all clicked in place for you, like the
not really, it was just everything was super, everything was just super gradual, like everything just kind of like worked itself out, and like I've never felt, this is gonna sound so stupid, and like I'm already embarrassed to say it because it sounds like I'm so fucking full of myself, but I've just never really been that person where I'm worried about that. Like it's like I've had all my liberating thoughts I had like in high school because that's when I figured out kind of I can just do whatever the fuck I want. Yeah. And so so the transitioning like that wasn't, I guess, because I'm not going to say because clearly I was in the closet. And right. But the thing is like I wasn't in the closet because I didn't know I was trans or I didn't feel like I could come out. I was just like, I was scared of the consequences. It wasn't a matter of it's like, oh, I can't do this. It was like a matter of like, if I do this, this is these things might happen, and I don't want these things to happen. And that's like what. So it was like I was more afraid of things, which is maybe what liberating is like. Is maybe that's it. Maybe I'm still growing as a person, and I'm still not free, and maybe that's what it is. But like, it doesn't have anything to do with transitioning, but I think actually one of the most liberating thoughts I've ever had was like when I was like I don't even know how old I was, but I was probably like in my like late teens, like 18, 19, when I just realized like I had money and a job, and like I had my own like space, and like I was like, I can just eat as much candy as I want. Like I don't have to like I don't have to ask. Like, if I want to eat an entire bag of mini Snickers, I can do that. Like, this whole bag, I can buy all the snacks I like. Like, I can just do that. Like, so, like, I mean, that seems a little, what's the word? Shallow, maybe in the scope of what we're talking about here. But it was one of those things where it was like my, like, you know, when you're like a little kid. Yeah. And you're 10 and your mom cooked dinner, or whomever, one of your parents cooked dinner for you, and you don't want it because you just want ice cream and you want candy. It's like, I just want a Twix bar. I don't want this. And why can't I just eat a Twix bar? And like, it's like, well, you have to eat dinner, and then your parent has to explain to you that, like, well, like, if they care to, they'll explain to you about nutrition, like, and how sugar's not actually food, but maybe they won't. They'll just be like, no, because I say you have to eat. I
said dinner. So.
Because I said so. And one of the things my mom said to me about that is, when you're an adult, you can eat all the candy you want. And so I got to be an adult, and I was like, I can eat all the candy I want. And I did go through that. I have since, in the last like few months, curtailed. I've restricted my diet. Like, and I willfully chose diet soda for the first time in my life, like a couple months ago, where it was like I was like, that was like, I felt like that was one of the last things, my vestiges of like maleness, like I was never going to get rid of this. I'm never choosing diet soda. Yeah. And I did. I chose diet soda, and now I'm never going back. It's like, I don't drink much soda anyway, so it's not really a thing, but it's like, yeah, I'm done with not diet soda. And it's like, I made that, and it was almost like because transitioning is a weird thing in the sense that, like, in general, I was very excited about every new thing that I get to do, and getting rid of and shedding the baggage of being my old self, or whatever, all the things I did because, like, I felt like I had to, or all that stuff. But it's the same thing you're saying. It's like there were certain aspects that, like, are attributed to, like, femininity, but like and attributed to masculinity that maybe you don't have to deal with, you can just throw out the window anyway because you're just doing your own jam. But for me, like, it wasn't so much about like what society thought. It was just like about like typical behavior that, like, I saw that, like, because your brain actually does change. Like, you change as a person. Like, the hormones, they fuck shit up. Like, they make things better, like, overall, for sure, but they just change you so much, and it's a really difficult thing to go through, and it's a lot. And there are certain aspects of my personality that I watched, like, just kind of dissipate and disappear or morph into this whole other new thing. Mm-hmm. And sometimes it was sad. Like, sometimes they were like, oh, I really liked that thing before, and now I just don't. And I think, like, not diet soda was one of those things for me, where it was like, I really just don't want to be one of those people that drinks diet soda. And now I am. And it just happened. And it was like, I feel like that was like one of the last things that I was hanging on to. And like, I let that go. And in a way, like,
The most
So
liberating
dumb.
moment was drinking diet soda.
Well, this is so stupid because like it's like we've talked before about like how at the early stages of transitioning, like your first year, everything's so wild and crazy and your body's changing all around, your brain's changing all around, like you're growing tits and like you're getting an ass for the first time and like you're wearing different clothes, you're experimenting with makeup, you're doing all this stuff. You get a few years into it, like 3-4 years into it, and all that starts slowing way down to the point where it's like it's such a radical change of pace that like you start to think that like nothing else is coming. Like it's like okay, I'm here now, but like of course you get every now and then you get hit by that semi that says no, you drink diet soda now.
Drink diet soda now.
Like, and that is like it's like another one of those things. It's like I didn't expect it. Like, but like I was in like a restaurant, like where they have like a fast food restaurant where they have like the soda machines, and like I had my cup that I got, and I went and I just looked at it. I was like, oh, I need diet. I went. It's like, oh no. And like I did it, and like it was. I knew I was doing it, and it was a conscious decision, but I was compelled like, by my brain to do this, and like I had to like I knew what I was doing. I did make the decision, but it was like, yeah.
What a liberating moment. You don't sound happy about it at all.
I know I am. I'm fine with it. I just think it's really funny because
oh my God,
my light fell down and it knocked down my lens cap.
I thought maybe this was one of these horror movies where like I see something happen on a Zoom call.
No, yeah, it was Slender Man.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Slender Man got me. I'm fucked now.
Yeah, I think,
not even me.
I think the best part about all these liberating thoughts that I've had, and I think a lot of people have, is that they just like extend beyond your transition. And like, yes, you'll obviously be concerned about your body, how you're presenting, how you're seeing yourself, but also it'll just change how you exist day to day for the better. I think if you can embrace the change and lean into that and like really look forward to your growth, like a lot of the people I talk to, like they have that. And I know obviously everyone comes from a different space. There's people with anxiety and depression, and obviously I hope you're able to get the therapy or the assistance or the support you have for that. But if you really lean into like the changing and just the joy of finally being who you are, like that's really the liberation. Is you've
that really is
keeping yourself in this place where you're trying to fit in. You're the wrong peg for the wrong hole, and you've been 20 years, 30 years, 5 years, however old you are and long you've been living, like probably not 5 years, but
some.
I mean,
yeah,
transition, like you're not going to be medically transitioning at 5, so but however long,
not even in the blue states,
not even in the bluest of blue states. Good for you. I feel like your parents are letting you like go by your name. Like I'm so happy so happy that kids.
Oh well, that for sure. Like that's great.
But know that you're going to have that moment where you're just getting out of all this stuff that's been. It's not even hardwired. It's just the thoughts you've been having that are like coded now in your brain. You get to wipe all those out, and you get to just exist as yourself, just like everyone deserves to be, just like it seems like most of the world does, and just embrace that and like be the amazing person you are. And I'm so happy for you.
I would even take that a step further and say that actually most of the people in the world do not.
No, they do.
Like,
you're right.
That's the other thing is, as Lila has mentioned this, we've mentioned this multiple times on this show, which is one of the things that, one of the reasons that like the Republican Party and like the conservatives hate us so much is because we are just bucking the system so fucking hard just by our existence. Because like one of the first things that happens is like, I mean, and this is super relevant to this question because like, like we're talking about liberating ideas, like one of the first things that happens when you come out, when you start transitioning is you do just get this moment where like, you're just like, I can just do whatever I want. And that is something that is so dangerous to the establishment, because this whole system is set up in such a way to keep people from that realization, because then they're not working to make them rich. Like, once you realize that, you're like, well, I don't have to go to that shitty job. I don't have to buy the junk that I don't need to keep up appearances. I don't need my car to look a certain way and so I can fit in the parking lot. It's like all these things that people that are entrenched and buy into capitalism think. All of these things that are these traps that are just there, that aren't even necessarily intentionally put there, but just are a result of the system being what it is. And they're just all tiger traps. And you do get to a certain point with transitioning, because what you're just doing, just by the act of transitioning itself, or even just coming out as trans, just throws all that right out the window. And it's like, well, if I can change my whole fucking gender, then surely I can change my job. Or surely I can change this other thing that I don't like, that's way less difficult to do and has way less impact. So that is one of the things that is feeds the fuel of why they're so against us, is because what we're doing is not only doing that and not plugging into the system that keeps them rich and in power, but also is setting an example that says that you don't have to do it either. And that's really dangerous to them, because they're already a dying thing.
The liberating idea of transness is you are free to make your life what you want it to be. You are free to be the person you want to be. And in a society that's set up with the fact that people want 12-year-olds to work in slaughterhouses, the idea of having dreams of being what you want to be are antithetical to that. So that
no
put
shit.
a nice little bow on all of that, and that's what
that's what they've got to offer. Have your kids work in fucking have your young children work at McDonald's. That's what they want. That's what they're selling. Would you like to vote for us? We want your young children working at McDonald's and meatpacking plants. Wouldn't you like that? Vote for us, please.
I mean, of course, we can only pay them $7 an hour because
we're not going to pay them. No, you're still going to be poor.
Be a
in fact, we're going to pay you less because of that.
As long as they don't have they them pronouns, sure, whatever.
Son of mine going to be wearing a dress. Son of mine going to be cutting meat at age 9. Son of mine gonna be flipping burgers at McDonald's at 2 a.m. That's what my son gonna do.
That's an alpha male job right there.
That's an alpha male job. I'm proud of that. That's real America.
All right, all you alpha trans people, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Beautiful. You all are strong. You all have those liberating thoughts. Let yourself be the person you want to be. Live the life you want, and tell your cis friends. Be an ally to cis people who are lost and think they're stuck in a shitty world. Let them know that they can make the world a better place as well. Tell them to listen to this podcast. That's a great way to start. It makes my world better. And
I got called cis friends. They're just called friends. We're gonna drag that into it.
You're beautiful, Amanda, and you get more beautiful every week. And I'm so lucky to know you and to get to work with you on this podcast.
California, baby. It's that California sunshine. I live in California now. I moved. I don't live in Washington anymore. I live in California.
And I'm coming.
Look me up.
I'm coming.
I'm in California. You can just find me. It'll just be like, Amanda Bonanza, California. I'll take you right to my house.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to put myself in a box and just write Amanda Bonanza, California, and mail myself to you.
Just pop up and just show up.
I mean, it's cheaper than flying, for sure.
Traveling in a box, the way to go.
It's called Spirit Airlines. Thank you very much. Y'all are amazing. Love yourself. Love your community. Be the joy you want to see in the world. I'm Liz Arling. That's Amanda Bonanza. Love you and goodbye.